Hey guys, it's me, Samuel again. So this video I'm doing a little bit something different. So usually you'd think that this would be a nerd news or a review of a certain film or Doctor Who, I guess. But no, today I'm going to do something a little bit different, and it is about this, the Dalek Chronicle comic. So basically, for those of you who are unfamiliar with this, back in the 1960s, the Daleks were, well, pretty big. They were basically the reason that Doctor Who got out of its first season, and because people loved them so much, that was the reason why the BBC decided to do the Dalek Invasion of Earth and The Chase, and of course we had the Dalek movies of 1965 and 1966 starring Peter Cushing. In the comics department, the Dalek Chronicles were created, which basically detailed, which basically gave the Daleks an origin story. Now, this may or may not be, this probably isn't canon for the main Doctor Who universe, okay? Obviously, we know about the origins of the Daleks from Genesis of the Daleks, 1975, starring Tom Baker, in which we learned that about the Daleks' creator, Davros. But before that came out, this would be the definitive origins of the Daleks. And, yeah, it's really cool. So, in the comic, we have the... Well, okay, so first we start out... so the comic basically starts out with with how the Daleks came to be. So, in this version of Dalek history, there's this scientist called Yarvlin, and he creates the machine for the Daleks. Now, notice in this comic, the original Daleks were blue-skinned. Now, in the original Dalek story, which I actually watched pretty recently, now, in the original Dalek story, we didn't actually see what the original Daleks looked like. The Doctor and his friends saw, but we didn't actually know what they looked like. This gives us an idea about what the Dals look like. Of course, that's been retconned, and it's now the Khalids. But there have been many theories about what the original Daleks were. The Doctor Who Monster Book says that the Dals were a myth, but they were actually the Khalids. But and so we get references to how the Daleks came about with the whole neutron bomb thing blowing up, and with the survivors mutating into with the Dalek survivors mutating into the little tentacle creatures that inhabit the Dalek shells. But it turns out the Daleks' creator Yarvlin survived, along with the war chief Zolfan, and basically the new Daleks tell them to create more machines because they are incapable of building things because they're totally brain. But of course we know that the new Daleks don't like anything that doesn't look or is them. So basically Yarvlin and Zolfan die from radiation sickness, much like the Doctor nearly did in the Daleks. But and also this comic introduces us to the idea of a Dalek Emperor. So as you can see down here, to what I'm pointing at, you can see that the Dalek Emperor is totally different, but is different from the other Daleks in that he has a giant gold dome. Now, now, the idea that the Daleks have an emperor originates in this comic, and we do see the Dalek Emperor sometimes on TV. Now, of course, the Dalek Emperor's first appearance on TV was in Evil of the Daleks, 1967, with Patrick Troughton. And then, of course, we don't see the Emperor again because we believe that he's destroyed in the Dalek Civil War, along with the rest of the Daleks, but obviously the Daleks come back, and we're in, like, well, after 5 years. So the next time we see the Dalek Emperor is about 21 years later in Remembrance of the Daleks, 1988, and that's basically Davros, who has discarded the last vestige of his human form, apparently. But of course, that also seems to have been retconned, because we of course see Davros again in The Stolen Earth and Journey's End, and of course, if you're a new series fan and you've been watching this show since 2005, you would have known that you would have known about the Dalek Emperor from Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways, the one that Ninth Doctor, Rose, and Captain Jack meet. And so, and of course, the Emperor has looked different in all sorts of, has looked different throughout all of his appearances on TV. But the one you see here is basically basically remains pretty much the same throughout his appearances. Is the only real change that we see to the Emperor is in the later issues. So I would say here. The Emperor, along with the rest of the Daleks, have the slats now. So, yeah, but he reigns pretty much the same. We also have the Black Dalek, so this guy right here, and we also get the Red Dalek. Now, the Black Dalek, of course, we see multiple times in Doctor Who. We see him in, obviously, the Dalek Invasion of Earth, and The Chase, and the Daleks' Master Plan. We also have a Black Dalek in Doctor Who and the Daleks, and Daleks Invasion of Earth 2150 AD. So, yeah, of course, he looks different in this as well. I mean, he goes through a few changes. I mean, first he looks like, well, basically, he just looks like a black version of a Dead Planet Dalek. Yeah, just with, but yeah, he's just like a black version of this Dalek design. And then, of course, later issues, if I just can find page, here we are. Okay, so, in the later Dalek comics, he looks like the one we see in Doctor Who and the Daleks, 1965. So I'm thinking that this sort of, these Daleks are, I like to think that this Dalek comic is more or less like the one, is like the origin story of the Daleks in the Doctor Who and the Daleks universe. So the one with Peter Cushing. So obviously, yeah, there was so we know, so in that, of course, in those movies we know about the Dalek File War with the neutron bomb, and we see that it ended with a giant explosion. Yes, the Daleks went, in Doctor Who and the Daleks still relied on static electricity to move about, but that could have been just one city. I mean, Skara is a big planet. Surely there were other Daleks. Maybe, and you know, might not have been. But so it might not have been just that city. So, yeah, and you know, and the comic actually ends, going back to the back page, it actually ends with the Daleks saying, "We're going to conquer Earth." So you can see that yeah, sure, some people might think that this might lead into the Dalek invasion of Earth, but it also could lead into Dalek's invasion of Earth 2150 AD. And, yeah. It's also cool. Okay, we also get a little bit more fleshed out we also get more of a flesh out for Skaro and some of the other worlds near to Skaro. So, if we look at the back page here, this creature with the two heads, it's actually something that the Daleks fight in an issue. They actually fight because it's trying to take over from the invade from the ocean or something. And we also get this robot, which this race is similar to the Time Lords send to try and stop the war between the Daleks and the Mechanoids, because the Mechanoids are in this comic and they do come to blows with the Daleks, much like how they do in the Chase. And so you can see how that, and I guess this android is like the Doctor in Genesis of the Daleks, because he's set a task, and he doesn't actually destroy the Daleks, but he probably he kind of delays them. I really do enjoy this comic. I managed to, okay, so the way I found this was I was at my nan and granddad's on my dad's side, and went out for a walk to town, came across this comic book store, and I looked around in, and I saw this, and thought, well, I had to pick this up, because the Daleks are my favourite monsters. I mean, I would have given anything to see the original Dalek comic strips. Now I do. So, I think I came out ahead. And it only cost me like $3.99. But it only cost me like £4 or something. So, yeah, but now, most people will be like, oh, well, why don't you just keep it mint and not have it damaged? I'm not gonna sell this. Like, this is good stuff, man. And I don't want to sell this. It's because I love this stuff. Okay, I don't sell what I love. I don't sell love. Yeah, no. But yeah, I really do like this comic, and if you can find a copy of this, then I highly recommend that you pick this up, and that you give it a read, because it does give you an idea about what the Dalek origins were back then in the 60s. And if you lived in the 60s and you want to find those comic strips, then hunt this down. So yeah, yeah, I really do. But yeah, so I really like it, and I hope that it could inspire a new wave of Dalek comics. Like, because Titan Comics, they're doing Doctor Who adventures. If they get the license for the Daleks, then could mean an entirely new world of adventures that don't necessarily have to feature the Doctor. And it might have given me a couple of ideas of what I could do for an animation. I just need maybe I just need a few more Daleks. One can never have too many Daleks. Okay, so yeah. I believe that's all I have to say. I do have I have another Doctor Who comic, but I'm going to save that for another video that I might make next week. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you all next time. So, bye-bye.